What's up guys, and welcome back to another EVE Online video. Today I want to do an in-depth guide to manufacturing, and specifically in this case Tech 3 manufacturing. If I open up skill plans, here's the Tengu manufacturing one. If you watch this and you are interested and you like the skill plan, reach out to me in game. 160 days of skill training if you've got a fresh clone, and so that's nearly 6 months, right? And 270 million ISK to buy the skill books before you can even get started with any of it. So I'm going to set this running once, and I'm also going to run it again because I don't want to have to keep coming out of wormhole space to do this, and so I can potentially have 48 runs at the end of this. For Tech 3 manufacturing, the salvage, it all comes from sleeper rats in wormhole space. This is a different path. We've now left manufacturing. These aren't BPCs, these aren't blueprints anymore, they aren't manufacturing. We are now down at the end in reactions. But I'm going to move over to my other facility where I can do reactions, and we'll have a list of everything we need to create our reaction materials. I'll see you over there in a second. So I actually need to apologize because it turns out I am a filthy liar. I've lied twice so far in this video. First one is a bigger deal than the second one. I realized at the beginning I misspoke when I said everything for Tech 3 manufacturing is harvested within wormholes. There are actually a couple of items that are not. And it's actually during the reaction process that I was just talking about, and I'm going to talk about in more detail. Let me open this up. As you saw, the reactions require minerals, and obviously these are harvested all across New Eden in different forms. And actually, when you're doing Tech 3 ship hull manufacturing, you need every mineral type across New Eden, so you do need either access to the market, or if you're going to harvest it yourself, high sec, low sec, null sec access to be able to get everything. So that's number one. And the second thing is, I said I wasn't going to bother showing you a spreadsheet, but it turns out it's quite a lot easier to talk through it through that method, and so in a second you will see a spreadsheet. But if we just really quickly go back to the industry tab, and I look for blueprints owned by me, and we go Tengu. Okay, we've got our Tengu blueprint that we're going to build from, and we want to build each one of these. So we'll go emergent neurovisual interface, and we'll search for that now. Emergent neurovisual interface. We want 4, so this is where we have 4. Now pretend we don't have the stockpile saved up. I'll mention my stockpile in a minute, but pretend this is empty. We need 22 PPD fullerene fibers, and we need 179 lanthanum metallofullerene, and we need 1105 C3 FTM acid. This is where you're going to, as I mentioned, you're going to want the spreadsheet, because there are some, you don't, if you're going to go through the whole Tengu build, you don't want to just build emergent neurovisual interfaces and do the reactions required for that and things, because reactions are kind of annoying. They take a long time, and they do quite fixed units values depending on the reaction you're doing. So, if we want 22 PPD fullerene fibers, I go over to my reaction, open it up. Okay, I want 22 PPD fullerene fibers. I can't have that. I have to have 250. and the minimum unit is 250. So what I don't want to do is run this loads of times by accident, because I need 22 for the neurovisual interface, but do I need any for neurovisual output analyzer? That's what we have to check now. Neurovisual output analyzer. Put it in. No, I don't need any. But this is why you want your spreadsheet, because if I now go here, I set this up a while ago. This worked for me, but obviously build your own, do your own thing. Sorry about the blurring down here, that's a bit annoying. But if I scroll down, you can see it. Basically, like I've noted down all of the salvage and all of the reaction materials that are needed for each thing. And so what you can see, if I want to build 2 Tengus, I need PPD fullerene fibers here, but I also need them for the Fullerite power conduits. I need some, and I need some for the fullerene intercalated sheets, and I need some for the electromechanical interface nexus, and I need some more for the superconductor, and so on, right? You actually need them for everything. In the case of PPD fullerene fibers, you need them for everything except the neurovisual. Control Z that. Except the neurovisual output analyzer. So you want to sum this stuff up. I need to hit that again. There you go. And so I've just got everything laid out, and then this just summing all the required units. So in actual fact, if I want to build 2 Tengus, I need 768 PPD fullerene fibers. So now I know I need 768. So if I go back to the PPD fullerene reaction, I need 768 for my 2 Tengu runs. So I need to knock this up to, annoyingly, 750 is 3, so I need to do 4 runs. And that's going to take me 9 hours 36 minutes to do. Okay, so what do I need to do this? As mentioned, I've also, like, you can put this on a spreadsheet as well. I haven't put these on spreadsheet because, again, like as mentioned, I don't spreadsheet this properly. I just wanted to know, basically do this first step. But you're going to need some pyrite in this case, so the input mineral that you go mine. You're going to need your wormhole gas, so a small amount of C60, a larger amount of C50, and you need fuel blocks, in this case hydrogen fuel blocks. For all of the different reaction materials, so you need every different fullerite, I think these are fullerenes. You need every different fullerene reaction for a Tech 3 manufacturing build. And if you're doing every fullerene reaction, you need every mineral type, you need every fullerene gas type, and you need every flavor of fuel block. Which is what you can see here. I've separated stuff out into an empty hanger so that you can see everything that's needed. But we have every gas type, fullerene gas type, so specifically found in wormholes, the 4 flavors of fuel block, and every mineral type. So that's what's needed to do this. If you're building out of your corporation hangars, you need to be careful with your stuff here. So, like, for example, people in my corporation, when I put these back into the right place, I've moved them just for this video, but when I put them back into the right place, members of my corporation can access the ability to use reactions and blueprints, but they can't then take from the hangar that they're in. So if you're going to use the blueprints, you need to make sure the output location is a hangar that you can actually access to get the stuff. And this is also, so that's just an aside. What we see here with the different reactions is also going to lead me into why I stockpile basically. So a couple things. These are specifically the numbers you need for the Tengu hulls. You will need more of each of these in varying quantities for the different subsystems as well. And I haven't got that on a spreadsheet, but I can just, I guess, just to prove it really quickly, if we go Tengu, and this time we look at our fuel catalyst propulsion system. Let's just go this one because I've been building from it already. You can see each of these items are also in the Tengu manufacturing build. You need a lot less of them, but you still need them all. But then there's also one other item type that is that is unique to each of the subsystem types. So for the propulsion subsystem, you need reconfigured subspace calibrators. For the offensive subsystems, it's a warfare computation core, so it's a special thing, and you need 7 units for each one. So just to round it off, let's go defensive. It's the reinforced metallofullerene alloys. But if we now have a look at those reinforced metallofullerene alloys, you still need different varieties of the same elements up here. So that's one of the reasons I build a stockpile, because you need so many annoying numbers, but reactions are done in these specific units that you end up with quite a lot left over all the time. And if you know you're going to need them in future because you're setting up a pipeline, you might as well build a stockpile. So in this specific case, for PPD fullerene fibers that we're just doing hull manufacturing for, we only need 768. We're going to end up with 1,000, which is because we have to. But also, it's a 9.5 hour manufacturing path, job duration, which is kind of an annoying duration, right? You might as well, if you've gone and harvested the materials and you have enough of each of these things, you might as well have it running until you're next going to be online. So, if you're going to be online in 19 hours, 20 hours time, just have it run this many. You only need 768. You've got 2,000. Now you've got a stockpile, and you'll be able to build all the subsystems without having to run reactions again, and maybe even do another Tengu build, for example. So that's why I've got a stockpile back in the other station. And yes, this is where we will end up. I also think I mentioned at the start of the video, but I can't remember. If you were going to track whether you're making good profit doing this, you need to keep an eye on all the job costs. Every job you submit in industry has a cost. So if you're going to do this in HiSec or wherever, make sure you keep an eye on the facility stacks and the system cost index, and make sure it's not impacting your profit margin. I don't look. I think I mentioned at the beginning. I do this because I want to, because I live in wormhole space and think I should, and to provide some hulls and subsystems for my court members when we go off and lose them in glorious combat. So I don't care about the job index, but it wouldn't be a complete video without mentioning it. So I'm going to set this off, and I'm going to do the same for every reaction I need, and I'll just go through them all on video because it doesn't take very long. But we'll open up my jobs. Part of the issue here is I only have 8 reaction jobs. Again, you could I could max out the skill. If you max out the skill, you can have 11 reactions on one character, and if you want to set up a really serious manufacturing path, then you'll have this on you get the skills on all 3 of your characters on one account. But I'd just do it casually. So I've got the 8, which is what I need, because that's actually, I need 9 if I want to do this in one hit. don't I? Yeah, 9. So I won't be able to do this all in one hit now, but I'll get 8 running. And again, if you're sensible, you will pick and choose based on the number of runs and when your net's going to be online, whether how you get these set up. So let's get going. 9.5 hours on this one. And this is specifically the numbers needed for the hull manufacturing, because I think I have a big enough stockpile to set the subsystems off later anyway. So let's start that one. Then we need 292 lanthanum metallofullerene. So this one. See what I mean about the units again? These are different units, but still required. So 292, so we've got to go up to 360. Just 3 runs this time. And different input requirements. So Noxium, Fullerite C70 and C84, and 15 oxygen fuel blocks, because these ones are slightly more valuable than the other ones. So we'll set the hangers correctly, and we'll set that one running. Then we're into C3 FTM acid. This is very valuable stuff, and is a big part of the cost of the hull manufacturing. A couple of these, so I think it's the C3 FTM acid and the carbonated 6 epoxy resin. I think it's that one. Let's have a quick look. Yes, I believe they are only required for the hull manufacturing. You don't need them for the subsystem manufacturing, which is why you end up with a disproportionate number required for the hull manufacturing. So in this case, you see we need 1,116. Doesn't look disproportionate until you find out that these are only 100 units per run. So we need 12 runs, which means it's over a day and 4 hours to have this one running. And it uses the most valuable type of gas, and carbonated 6 uses the other most valuable. So we've got C540 in here with megasite, carbonated 6, xydrine, and C320. So we end up with expensive build paths on these two, and long. But you only need these for the hull manufacturing, not the subsystems. So let's get that going. But you see the job cost has jumped because the value of the item is so much higher. So just the output of this is going to be 93 million estimated value just for this one reaction. Alright, scandium metallofullerene 832, which is an annoying number again, 800. So we've got to go to 960, which is a 14-hour job, so it's not short. And again, different gas, C72 and C28 this time, and again different fuel blocks. And carbonated 6 epoxy resin for 800, which this time not an annoying amount, the perfect number, because this does 160. So 800 is a perfect nice round number. So we'll have no excess or overflow on this one. Oh, where am I? Oh yeah, they're going as corporation jobs here. So you can see your jobs populate in the timeline coming up. Fulleroferrocene. This is the cheapest of the materials. So we needed 3,110. And it does 1,000 units per run. And it's worth not very much. So we will set that one off. You can tell it's the lowest value because it only requires titanium and not a different value of mineral. And I've only got space for 3 left, and I've got, hang on, I should have 4 left to place. Have I missed one? Scandium metallofullerene. Yes, I missed scandium metallofullerene. So set that one off. I think it just didn't start as opposed to I missed it. I think something went wrong with the execution. Metallofullerene only requires 3 runs. And fullerene intercalated graphite is the last one we'll go for, because conveniently graphene nanoribbons are the one we require least of. That's actually only 1 run, which I'll just show you before we need 120, 112, we can build 120, so it's only one run, so we could run that while we're on tomorrow night, and not have to worry about wasting too much time, whereas all the others are at least 3 runs, so you're going to want much longer to run them. But we can come on and run this one tomorrow. Of course, I could open this up and add one more skill, and then I could do all 9 of these in one go. But this is another reason for stockpiling. Apart from the very first time, I've never needed to do all 9 of these in one go at all, because I've got stockpiles of stuff. So that's reactions. I will wait here. Not really, I'll go do other stuff, but we will wait here for all of our jobs to finish, and then we will deliver them and chuck them in our bustard. So I'll see you in a second. Okay, and we're back the next day, and those jobs are all finished. So we're going to deliver these. It's not like the invention, these just succeed. There is no fail, so we will deliver all of these. See them populate the hangar. There's Officers Club. So the hangar that you chose to run them in is where they get dropped off. And I just need to set up the last one. How much that was? About 176. Yeah, just need to set up the final run from the sheet yesterday, which should be graphene nanoribbons. If I go Officers Club, one run of this, and I will collect that, and we'll go and do the next step in a couple of hours. See you then. So now that should mean between the Fullerite gas reactions and the sleeper salvage, we have everything we need to manufacture the components to manufacture Tengus and the subsystems. So let's have a look. We know, again, just recap, we want to build Tengu, we need these things. I will just open my spreadsheet because it's easier to see it from here. I want 4 emergent neuro interfaces. I didn't. It's neurovisual interface. That's upsetting. I'll probably change that. So we need 4 emergent neurovisual interfaces, and bam, we have the salvage we need, and we have the fullerenes we need, or whatever they're called, reaction materials, for 4. These particular runs are pretty quick. These don't take long at all. Probably what's sensible to do though is to actually work the other way, because the lower value stuff takes longer because you need more of it. So let's go with nanowire composites first at 42. Nanowire composites. We want 42 runs. Plenty of each. You'll see that like the value of these components changes hugely. So nanowire composites are pretty cheap. 42 of them only run like less than 2 million. And as such, the items there are just loads of them. So obviously we just built the right number of reaction materials. For the salvage materials, you can see for the 2 that are needed here, like I've got massive stacks, 26,000 and 17,000. I just need 113 of each. But this is going to take 3 hours, which is why we're going to set these ones off first. So let's set that running. Owned by me. And then we want metallofullerene plating for 32. Metallofullerene plating 32. Let's start that. Superconducting gravimetric amplifier. No time efficiency on this particular blueprint, but I do want to use it up. We need 24 of them, so let's go. You'll see the value increasing though now, like these are worth 30 million, and as we go up it should continue to increase, even though the numbers decrease. Electromechanical interface nexus. They're all crazy long names to try and remember. We need 16 of them. Yep. And you can see like we've got everything we need from the gas. Fullerene intercalated sheets. We need 16 of them as well. These are pricey ones. Of the sleeper salvage. So as we get to this one, you can see we need it runs over 150 million for these 16. That's because the neurovisual input matrices, which are one of the salvage modules, it specifically is expensive and hard to come by. You only really get them from sleeper battleship salvage. It tends to be where they drop from. You can get them from slightly lower stuff, but it's very rare. So these are quite difficult to come by. You can see my stockpile is only, I say only, that's quite a lot, but it's only 2,700. Whereas the piles of the others, that's an exception, but only 19, not 785, are quite big, 17,000, 10,000. So this is where the money is in sleeper salvage, if you were wondering. So let's build these. Fulleroferrocene power conduits. Fulleroferrocene power conduits. Let's use this one. 6 runs, that's right, isn't it? Yep, 644. And you'll have noticed as well, I've only taken my manufacturing jobs to 8 for this. Like I could have more jobs by increasing advanced mass production, but you only actually need 8 manufacturing slots to do all of these for a Tengu. So I just sort of stopped there for now, because I'm not doing this as a production line. This is a personal hobby. What am I looking for? Neurovisual output analyzer. This one, just the 4, but even though it's only 4, it's running up nearly 50 million. And that is because of the gas inputs. But nice and short, and again neurovisual emergent neurovisual interface. Let's do 4 of these as well. Oddly, these are rare. Like these drops are quite rare. They are difficult to come by. You can see my stockpile is low for all of these, but for some reason they don't fetch a high price. I really don't know why. The big money loser on this is the gas. So I don't know why these aren't worth much, but anyway. And so that's it. We've got all 8 running. These are the 8 items needed to build the Tengu, alongside the RAM, which we will just have a pile of. Because as mentioned before, not really, unless you want to build it from scratch, not worth building them. Just buy a whole pile from the market and keep it going. You only need 15 per build, so just go out and buy like 5,000 and never think about it again. So yeah, so this is now obviously going to run for a couple of hours, and we'll check back in afterwards, and we will finish these off and run the Tengu builds, and then we will just touch on the couple of items needed for the subsystems, but the process is obviously pretty much identical. But I did say I was going to build the subsystems as well, because I do. So yes, we'll check back in once we've finished, and we can hit build on the Tengus, which will be exciting. See you then. Alright, and these are all done now, so only thing left to do here is to deliver them all, and then we can start our 2 runs on the Tengus. So let's quickly do that. Deliver all the way down. I've apologised many times, but apologies for my hanger. But you can see them in here now, they've come in, so that's good. And then we will go to our Tengu blueprint we were using, and there we have it. 2 runs, we are ready to go. So without further ado, I guess I'll hit start. But yeah, just a reminder: the build time, the build path is long, so I'm going to have to take a break and come back in 4 days to show you the completed product. But also the system cost, the job cost, is going up because the estimated item value, which is what really drives the cost, obviously isn't low. So I mean, $1 million's not much to be concerned about, but if you are in a system in HiSec with a higher system job cost index, then like this is going to be a lot more. Like our system cost index is 0.3, so obviously that's tiny. If we're at even just 1%, then this would be nearly a 5 million build. So anyway, without further ado, let's start that. There we have it. We've got our 2 Tengus building. And so then, while that's happening, we can have a quick look at the subsystem builds as well, because we can set them running, I believe. Because I should be able to do this from my stockpiles for the subsystems. So we will have a look at the augmented graviton. Nope, that's right. I did the right numbers. So we'll need to go through and build all these again to make sure we've got the numbers right. I won't do this on camera because it's the same process. So you've watched me do this already for the Tengu. So I'll just go through and I'll produce the right numbers of each of these for the subsystems. The nice thing here actually though is the first 5 are the same across all 4 subsystem type and the same numbers. So you know, if I want to build 2 versions of all 4 subsystems, I just need 8 Fullerene integrated sheets and so on. The difference here is this item, the optimized nano engines. I know I've already mentioned this earlier on in the video, but this 6th slot is different for each of the subsystems, and you need 7 per run. So there'll be 4 items here that we need to produce 14 of, and then there'll be 5 items that we need to produce 8 of. So I'll do that now. I'll get started with the optimized nano engines on here, of which I need 14, and we've got everything we need because of our stockpiles. So I will get all this stuff running, and then we'll come back when I've got everything I need to start the subsystem builds, and then we'll get them kicked off, and then we'll come back and be able to have it all done when the Tengus are ready. Yeah, we'll be good to go. So then, just real quick, then we need reinforced metallofullerene fibers, alloys. 14 of them. It's all set up. The offensive is the warfare computation core. And the propulsion is the, I need 2 please, is the reconfigured I can't speak this morning. Reconfigured subspace calibrator, which I don't have time efficiency on, but it really doesn't matter. Okay, as I said, I'll get the rest kicked off, and we'll have all this finished, and we will get the subsystems in build, all off camera, and we will reconvene in 3.5 days when the Tengu is ready to be finished to collect everything. So yeah, see you in a while. And so here we are at last at the end of the process. I've got my 2 Tengus ready to deliver, plus the respective subsystems for each. So we will do that now. And that's it. That's all there is to it. Here we have 2 Tengus, roughly 409 million, and then in here you will find the subsystems down there, 2 of each, another 330 million, so 700 and something million in value. and then I will ship them out. The nice thing is they're not huge. Repackaged cruisers, packaged cruisers are not very big, 5,000 each. So if you're going to haul a bunch around in a deep space transport, you can move quite a few of these without worrying about it. So that's the video, guys. I hope you found it informative, end to end. As already discussed earlier on, this is Tech 3 manufacturing, right? This is not supposed to be an easy, simple thing. Outside of capitals, it's probably like the pinnacle of manufacturing, complexity-wise and barrier to entry-wise, until you get into capitals, as it should be. My only slight bugbear with it is I think the return for the amount of time and the amount of energy you have to invest into it. I actually don't think the return is that strong. Like you do make reasonable cash on each build, but it's not it's not a great return considering it takes a long time to do everything from scratch. I do it, as mentioned, I do it because I live in wormholes. I feel like it's important and it's good just to have a bunch of stuff on supply down here. Like these won't leave the wormhole. I'm not going to ship these to market. These are going to be available to go into my stockpile for when we inevitably lose Tech 3s. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say really. So I really appreciate everyone watching. If you've made it all the way through to here, thanks very much. If you want to see anything else similar, any other pipelines you want to see, drop a comment, and I will see you all in the next one. Cheers.